It is about my own experience or other people's experience or information I got by reading books. So I am not a therapist. Do your own research, and please be careful with this information. With any information you get, you really need to check if it really applies to your life before making any decision. All right. How to know if you are being manipulated? Being confused can be a sign of manipulation. If it's not your normal character, if there was a time in your life when you were very confident and you find yourself in a state of confusion, especially concerning some people in particular, it might be manipulation. People might be trying to manipulate you actually. But if you never were someone who was very confident, and that you have been always been a little bit confused, a little bit, you always found it difficult to make decisions and all that, so be careful. This is what I said at the beginning. But for someone who's being manipulated, you can feel confused. The person puts you in a state of confusion. Today it's going to be one piece of information, the next day is going to be the contrary. Sometimes it's the next minute. The next minute you get the opposite of the information, confusion. Sometimes you don't even know what you have heard. You don't even know if what you heard was right or wrong. And you don't know anymore. So confusion. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know what you want. You don't know what is wrong, what is right, without that person or that group of person telling you what to think and when to do things. So it's a state of being dependent on someone else. You are like a child. You become like a child because you don't know what to decide anymore, or the person tries to take control by deciding everything for you. And sometimes it's very subtle because the person is going to make sure that you believe that it's a suggestion. It's just a suggestion. And the second point is that a suggestion, you have the right, you have the space, you have the freedom to reject it. But with manipulation, you cannot reject. You can't say no. So it might come as a suggestion, but if you say no, you find yourself in a difficult place. You find yourself with accusation. You find yourself with bitterness, resentment, anger. The person is going to make you feel it, that you made the wrong decision by refusing what they were quote unquote suggesting. But it's not suggestion. A suggestion, I repeat, you can refuse it. You can disagree with the suggestion. And by the way, in a healthy relationship, you have the freedom to peacefully disagree, bring your opinion without it being a problem. So when you refuse something or when you disagree with something, the person is going to be angry at you. The person is going to resent you, or sometimes even worse. Some people find themselves in even worse situation that I don't want to address here. So this is clearly manipulation. When you can't think for yourself, when the person doesn't give you the space and the freedom. I said it before in another video that in a healthy situation, healthy relationship, you have space, you have freedom. You never lose your freedom. So when you find yourself in a relationship, it can be with family members, friends, colleagues, or other people, you find yourself in a situation when you cannot decide for yourself, when you can't because the person doesn't give you the freedom to do so, or you can't because you have lost the ability to think for yourself. This is manipulation. Manipulation, by the way, is the fact that someone or a person or a group of person tries to influence another person or another group of person. So the influence is not in a good sense. They influence somebody, but in the bad way. They influence a person to take control. It is about control. It's about controlling the person in different way. So that's why I said before that the only way to avoid that, to not attract this kind of person or find yourself in this kind of relationship, is to really stand for yourself, is to really know yourself, is to really learn to say no, and no very early in the relationship. Why? People manipulate other people They are very, very strong. They know what they want and they will do anything and everything to get it. This is why they manipulate people, because they don't practice being in a relationship peacefully and respectfully. They do not respect other people's space, other people's life. It's all about them. This is why you need to put some balance in that. And I'm telling you, when you practice you put in place back boundaries, they will run away. They will run away. You know that there are some people who can never be manipulated, because very early they will detect that, oh, how come that person asked me that? It's no. Of course it's no. Can you borrow my car? And you know that I need it. For example, the person wants to borrow your car for, I don't know, maybe for 6 months, let's say for 6 months, or it's going to be maybe for a week, but you know that the person is going to keep it. It's an extreme, but the person is going to keep the car. It's no. It's no. You need the car. How come you would lend your car and find yourself taking the bus, for example? You bought the car for you. You didn't buy it for someone else. This is a boundary you need to set, for example. Or someone who wants to come and visit you, but you know it's not a visit. You know that the person is going to settle in your house, or the person suggests that you share the rent, and you know that person, you know that the person is not going to pay, then it's no. And when as the earlier you say no, the earlier the person is going to run away from you, literally, because they will know that, oh, I can't manipulate that person. So when people, for example, they know that you have a nice place, and they want to live there. They want to live there. So they're going to suggest many other things. But before you accept someone in your space, and if, for example, you want somebody to share the rent with you, check if the person is able to pay the rent. When you're in a relationship and you can't say no, you don't have the freedom to say no, this is a bad influence. Manipulation is an harmful influence. It's an influence for the person's interest, not for yours. So when you know that, you put boundaries very quickly in the relationship, very early. And you know, some people are very stubborn and they don't understand, or maybe because sometimes we give them too many signs of acceptance of their way of doing, then they become more and more forceful, and they try more and more, and they do more and more to harm us. So what you do in this case, the only thing to do is really to distance yourself in different ways, but to distance yourself. When the person has become too stubborn and you can't speak, there is no possibility to be understood. The only way is distance. In a healthy relationship, you understand the other person and you are understood. You listen and you are listened to. You can speak, the person also can speak. And there is no problem if you do not agree. There is no problem. There is no fear, no stress. Very, very good friendship. Sometimes disagree. Very, very people who get on well together, they are not always on the same page, but there's no problem. They just find a way that works for both of them. All right. So not being able to think for yourself can be a sign of manipulation. And I would like to end by saying something. Whatever happens, if we have allowed some things, we also have the power to close that door. It's all about us. The person will never leave by themselves. They will never stop by themselves. As long as we say yes, as long as we accept, they will always continue. And most of the time, it's always worse and worse. So if we have allowed some things in our lives, we have to know that we also have the power to say no, to say stop. There are different ways. Sometimes you can do it at once. Sometimes you need to prepare. Sometimes it's going to take longer, but you can do it. All right. Bye-bye. And thank you for listening.